And that is a very common
Common.
talking point that I hear when people say, and when we talk about companies expanding to Saudi Arabia, they're like, "Oh, they're just going there for the oil money." If companies, I mean, at the end of the day, all business is about money, right? But if companies were truly just purely chasing capital, then they would not be coming here. They would be going to Switzerland or China or the
Singapore.
US or Singapore, wherever. What makes Saudi Arabia so attractive, and I mentioned it earlier, is the people. Is that companies come here because they understand that A, it's economically stable and it's economically predictable. We have a very good credit rating. So there is no economic concerns that the market's going to collapse tomorrow. It is a very predictable and a very stable market. Secondly, we're very socially and politically stable. And thirdly, we have very high human capital and human talent. And when you get all three of those things, plus, yes, very high financial capital, it's a no-brainer. So that's a very common talking point that people love to bring up. That companies only come here for that. Uh, no, it's certainly not the case. And as someone who's lived here and has seen this transformation span over 6 to 7 years, I can say full-heartedly that is not the case.
I want to expand a little bit more on a couple of the things you've mentioned earlier. So, like you mentioned, like Nvidia and Qualcomm. So, all of these names have been, coming in. And I know just recently Nvidia is like, okay, we're going to power up Humain, who I think right now is still currently launched in Saudi, but still gradually taking it worldwide. I mean, with all of these big names coming in, like Qualcomm, Nvidia, AWS expanding their presence more and all, do you think it's too much as a Saudi, or is like the best is yet to come?
Oh yeah, I know the best is definitely yet to come. I mean, I also think it's wrong to see all these things as sudden. And I also mentioned it earlier. We didn't wake up one morning and we're like, okay, we're gonna
Yeah.
go out and get Nvidia and we're gonna go out and get Apple and Google and Microsoft and they're all gonna come here overnight. None of this happened in a vacuum. You don't get Fortune 500 companies not only relocating their offices. That's one thing to tell people you're going to be working in one city and now you're working in another. That's one thing. But to relocate your entire operations, to say we're moving our A to Z regional operations from this place to Riyadh, that doesn't happen over one handshake. That doesn't happen over one phone call with some Saudi official that's like, yeah, we'll give you money, come and do it. None of this happens in a vacuum. It happens, and then people are going to get tired of me saying this, but it happens because you have all those things aligning. You have such high human potential. You have such high human capital. And I say even more than that, you have a government that understands that its greatest asset is its people. You can mine all the oil you want. You can mine all the rare earth minerals you want. But at the end of the day, if you don't have the people, if you don't have the human capital to put behind those projects, then they're just going to become dust and useless. Um, the Saudi government, I think, is one of the only governments in the world that literally directly invests in people. And I can speak to that from personal experience, and every young Saudi can, and you don't find that anywhere else. So none of this happened in a vacuum. I don't think it's too much. I think it is certainly just the beginning. And you mentioned Humane and NVIDIA and Grok and X, and I mean just the potential is incredible. And a lot of these investments, they're 5, 10 year investments. So we're not even still seeing the result of those investments, and we'll continue to see more results of those come out every year. So there is a long roadmap and a very, very high trajectory going forward.